Welcome to the Dr. Nikki Starr Show, a podcast to support you in your spiritual awakening and personal development. As a spiritual teacher, healer, and intuitive coach, my intention is to empower you to live your ultimate potential and your ultimate life. As a former medical doctor and mystic, my role is to bridge the gap between science and spirituality to support you in understanding more of your multidimensional aspects. I share on a diverse range of topics, and it's all to support your greatest becoming. My mission is to continue reaching millions of people for the healing and awakening of humankind for the creation of the new earth. Thank you for being here. Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nikki Starr, and today I want to share with you one of my favorite teachers. She's a master teacher. She is the Rose. And in celebration of my newest women's program, which is coming up on June 1st and will be happening throughout the month of June, I thought it was really appropriate and important to share with you my history with her, why she is so profound to work with. And in the bonus section, I want to guide you through a meditation with the Rose, and it's one that has downloaded for the program, and it's a preview into some of what we'll do inside the program, but there's many different facets and ways that we can work with the Rose. And so even though in my past offerings, I've offered different things connected to the Rose, there's going to be new things. And inside the bonus content of this episode, I'll be sharing something brand new. Even if you've worked with me in the past, this is something you've never experienced before from me. And so where shall we begin? Let's begin at the beginning. I remember when I got off the reality show, some of you know I was on a Fox reality show called Utopia in 2014. And when it finished, right the week it was finished, I was invited to this sacred land in Ojai, California, where there's a natural hot springs. And there was a potluck gathering that week, and I met a woman who was doing a Rose dieta at the time. And she couldn't eat salt, and she was telling me all about what she was doing and that she was communing in every meal multiple times throughout the day, that she was communing with Rose. And I remember when she told me about it, I was like, I want to do that. And then Rose found me again through a friend who I had on episode 54 of the podcast, where we spoke about Rose medicine as well. And I knew that I wanted to work with Rose again. And this was in 2000, I want to say 15, about 2015. Then life happened and I began working with dieta type of spiritual healing and development. And that is when you enter into a relationship with a plant. And many people do dieta with ayahuasca, for example, or San Pedro, or any plant. You can do a dieta with any plant. And a dieta is a specific kind of diet, right? So it's in the word, because dieta is diet with an A at the end. And this is a shamanic word that is known where you limit certain types of food, like any kind of very strong foods. So you take out salt from your diet, you take out all seasonings, you take out spiciness, no peppers, no onion, no garlic, no citrus. You really eat as bland as possible so that, and you also don't have any meat. Some dietas people say you can have fish, and some dietas say that you can have chicken. Even some dietas, you can have eggs. So it depends on who you're working with and what the plant is and what the intention is. And you can also do a dieta with just water and the plant. And that's it. So now fast forward to the spring of 2024, and I was given information about the potential to do a dieta with Rose in the sacred valley of Peru using the wild roses that grow there. And I felt a strong calling to it. And at the time, I did it as a way to support divine union partnership because I was in a relationship at the time where we were deciding if we were going to continue on or step away from the relationship. And I'm always someone that really wants to see love through as much as possible. So I was open to doing this in relationship. And then the powers that be, the forces that be, we ended up breaking up and not going to do and sit for dieta together for Rose, which I trust was divine orchestration. And in that, I was really able to do my own personal healing and womb work using the energies and frequencies of the rose, which are so healing, refining, subtle, softening, gentle, and yet powerful, just like an ayahuasca experience, but different. I use the word refined because she's so subtle, and you can say like her dosage may be so light relative to the power and potency of ayahuasca. And if you're someone that has been on your spiritual path for a long time and you've refined, and perhaps you even stepped away from working with plant medicines as I did because of my level of sensitivity, Rose is strong enough for you. In my dieta space, when I was in the Sacred Valley, I fasted for 4.5 days with no water, no food, only water. And in drinking her medicine, I had a purge. I literally vomited. So there was a cleansing of my field that happened. I also did womb work with her. I cleared a lot of ancestral and generational patterns and energies and even entities. And I was able to see certain patterns, particularly around love. And of course, as we know, just symbolic from society, the rose is representative of love. Rose is the highest frequency plant, synonymous, equivalent, resonant with divine love. And so that's why when we're in love, we receive or give roses, right? Because they're symbolic for love. And the colors of the rose also have a different effect for different purposes and intentions. And so in this episode, my intention is not so much to give you the teachings of the rose, because that's going to happen inside of the program. It is more for you to feel inspired to join me on this journey, on this rose journey. And you may be wondering, why did I name it Daughters of the Rose? So on the last seating of my dieta, it was like my closing ceremony with her. I had a very psychedelic type of experience. And the thing about Rose is she's so talkative. If you begin to work with her in the ways that I will show you, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, on an energetic level, as well as a physical level, on a spirit level, as well as a 3D tangible level, she will begin to communicate with you just like a spirit guide would. And she's very talkative. She's a lot of information to share. And in that last ceremony, she shared with me that I was a daughter of the rose, but I'm not the only daughter of the rose. The daughters of the rose are a lineage like the Magdalens of women and even men, because men can also work with the rose, and they would be sons of the Rose, of course, who have worked with her in many lifetimes. Now, the Rose has been around since the beginning of time. She has been recording the history of the planet. Her medicine has carried on through the different ages, eons, and epochs of humanity. So she still has so much to teach us. She has so much to share with us. She has wisdom. She has teachings. She has metaphors for us. And I like to say that Rose is a master teacher because there's a perfection element to her. She does not have an ego. And because she is a part of nature and she is a teacher, she very well nears perfection in her teachings, her embodiment, her way of being. So not only does her frequency teach, you can also look at her physicality, and that imparts teachings for us, especially as feminine beings. And also her cycles. Just like us as women, we have cycles. So there's many aspects of her nature that in the program I will go on to share with you. And not only from her physicality, also, I have used her throughout my work for energy strategy. There's different types of protocols where we can call upon the Rose for cleansing, for activating our energy, for igniting, illuminating, and blossoming our energy, also for protection, and also in a very magical way where we can use her to help us for our intentions. And this is all information that has been so powerful, so potent. I have amazing stories to share with you inside of the program related to all this. And it's something you can take with you beyond the month container. Her frequency is so powerful that she will also change you. She will help you to de-armor and soften, just like you are meant to be as a feminine being. And this will allow you to receive even more of all the beauties and gifts that life has to offer you. And so it was really beautiful when I had my last closing ceremony. I will guide inside of the Daughters of the Rose container what she did to me for my initiation and activation to work with her beyond that initial space of union and connection that I experienced with her during my dieta. And then in other moments throughout the year, I had time where I would sit and meditation and drink her like a medicine and receive specific downloads and information, and also to support me on my healing and transformational journey. And every time I go through a major transition, I think of Rose and I call upon her. And I use her regularly in my work as well on an energetic level for the energy strategy protocols that I teach clients. And I use them in my own life. And they're really such a beautiful way to support us in how we're embodied and how we relate in life. And so throughout this year, I was working with her. And then just a few weeks ago, I was participating in a women's weekend and we did a rose ritual. And I began sharing teachings with the rose. I was invited to do so. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I have so much to share about the rose. And there were some women there that had worked with Rose before, but not to the level and depth that I have, or to the level and depth of the teachings that I've received from her. So I said, you know what? Like, I have to. It is my duty, it is my responsibility, and it is also my joy and my pleasure to offer a rose offering. And Rose has taught me so much, including spaciousness and how to have such a beautiful spaciousness to my life and to my creations. And I was percolating on what it was going to be. I already knew that the name would be the Daughters of the Rose because I was even thinking of creating a separate brand called the Daughters of the Rose. But then I felt like I, as Dr. Nikki Starr, give so many offerings that I am still the brand, and I'm the umbrella through which all of these offerings channel through. So instead of splitting the energy, I can just make it one of my offerings. And then sure enough, a former client messaged me asking me for indications about Dieta with Rose, and that the Rose has been calling her. And so it was multiple sources. And then another woman at that women's weekend was like, I think I'm going to do the Rose. Ever since you started speaking and sharing about her, I just keep seeing her every time I close my eyes. And so that is one of the things that I do as an activator. It's activating people into your next level becoming through various types of work. And I feel the work with the Rose falls under the shamanic type of work that I do. How we can use plants as allies in our healing, transformation, and greatest becoming. And we know what's very popular in the spiritual world right now is working with things like psilocybin or mushrooms or peyote or San Pedro or ayahuasca or DMT, etc. However, as a very sensitive being and someone who is able to travel to other dimensions, and I have a very open third eye and I'm able to see beyond the veil, I don't need to put myself at risk for the portals that open of other dimensions, even lower dimensions, with those mind-altering substances. Whereas with Rose, her inherent nature, because of her high frequency, it is protective. So I found that she, along with Blue Lotus, are the two plants that most serve the type of sensitivity and light work that I do, so that I feel very safe receiving information and journeying with this high frequency, high vibrational type of plant. So if you're someone who has ever wanted to experience plant medicines, I highly recommend the Rose. And especially as I will share indications for which type, how do you know which ones to use? All of that will be inside of the Daughters of the Rose. And I will also guide a ritual and ceremony where we have a plant medicine ceremony with the Rose. And I decided to make it online because nowadays I have clients in all different countries, all around the world. And I wanted as many people as possible to participate in this experience because it is serving for women of all ages, wherever you are on your spiritual journey. And also, if you've worked with plant medicines in the past or not, if you have experienced energy strategy work or not, and it will support you in being the woman that you know you're destined to be. You will be a better woman because of the Rose, because of her teachings, because of all of the wisdom she has to impart, and most importantly, because of her radiance, beauty, and light. And she imparts that onto us when we work with her. And if we look back at all the many different lineages, all the goddess lineages, we often see the goddesses adorned with the rose. So the goddess energy works through the rose frequency as well. So we are going to be attuned and in tune to the goddess frequency as well as the love frequency. And as women, our true nature, our radiance is our love light. And so, of course, the rose is going to activate that within us. So I invite you to join me for the Daughters of the Rose Women's Offering that will be happening live this June 2025. The link is in the comment section. And this will be the most supporting, healing, nourishing, and also illuminating and enlightening experience. This is a great support in addition to any type of personal development or healing work that you're doing right now. It will only support it, only enhance it. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. And of course, if you want to experience a one-of-a-kind, brand new rose meditation, visualization, and energy work experience, I invite you inside the bonus content. Thank you so much for tuning in. Big kiss to you, and I'll see you inside Daughters of the Rose. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. Please like this podcast and share it with anyone you feel would benefit. Subscribe to the podcast to receive bonus content, and remember, every Monday the video version goes live on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being on the Ascension path with me and for doing this great work.